Hey, it's Alex, and I'm confessing that Persona 3 Reload recently took over my life. Or at least the last 2 months worth of evenings filled with high school students battling against the end of the world yet again. Actually, Persona made me worse at my job. I haven't been able to get around to cover this game on the channel yet because I've been ingesting mystery burgers that improve my courage. I have yet to be able to experience this one because I've been working towards summoning Beelzebub after class. I've heard this game is a slam dunk, but I haven't gotten to it yet because I've been conversing with unusual people and learning surprisingly insightful life lessons. And I haven't been able to dig into this either because it's another day where puppers need to be brushed. It's okay I'm a little behind, because Persona 3 Reload was such a masterful remake, it's kind of all I wanted to be doing every night into the 100 plus hours mark. Not every night, that's impossible. When the original Persona 3 came out, it looked like this, and other than the story being mostly the same, Persona 3 Reload is modernized and improved to the point where you could call it a new game entirely, or even Persona 6. Maybe don't call it that though, because we still need Persona 6 to happen. Now, I could continue on about how much I enjoyed Reload's combat system, somehow express the gloriousness of the menu design, and talk about its more addictive properties, but instead, I think I would rather directly try to help bring more people into this series. So here are 5 tips for how and where to start brand new with Persona and the mainline Shin Megami Tensei series. Some of these tactics might also apply to the upcoming Metaphor ReFantazio game as well, which looks like an epic mixture of both of those two series rolled into one. First, the main difference between modern Persona and modern Shin Megami Tensei. On a surface level, Persona games are somewhat more linear and story-focused, functioning on a day-to-day system where you have to pick and choose how you spend your time. It's not so much a time constraint necessarily, it's just daily choices. Don't stress out on it, it's pretty hard to spend your time purely incorrectly. Looking at Shin Megami Tensei 5, it doesn't have the day-to-day progression of Persona and is less dialogue heavy overall, but it has a greater focus on open area exploration. In Shin Megami Tensei, you fuse and summon demons in a very similar way to Personas, both being kinda like M-rated Pokemon. However, the Megami Tensei series predates Pokemon, so technically Pokemon is a Megami Tensei-like game. Put a Jack Frost down in chat if you already knew that. You'll find that SMT is a bit darker in tone, and sometimes slightly more challenging than Persona. In either of these two series, if the main protagonist dies in battle, it's game over, back to the save spot, or you can try that fight over again. Your other party members can be resurrected, but you're special, so you're not allowed to die. Because of this, try to fuse a persona or demon that is resistant, entirely blocks, or absorbs as many damage types as you can. That can drastically improve your success rate in both of these games. Try to avoid having personas and demons that have too many exclamation marks, because that indicates they're weak to that damage type. If an enemy exploits that weakness, they get a free turn to act again, which could lead to you dead. Metaphor looks to have a similar damage type system, so this applies over there too. Avoid exclamation marks on your character and try to inherit skills that negate weaknesses when you have them. Another big comfort is to equip yourself with gear that saves you from death once, or have a summon that has the skill Endure, which saves you at 1 HP. Having that safety buffer against surprise deaths and insta-kill light and dark attacks is going to save your controller from the wall. If you're finding that an enemy isn't weak to any damage types or negates them all, here's 2 good ways around that. An ability that is listed as doing almighty damage is raw pure damage that doesn't get filtered through their elemental resistances. That lets you chip away at their health even if they're blocking everything, or if you just don't feel like figuring out their weaknesses. Another thing to keep in mind is that critical hits with melee attacks can set you up for extra turns, or set the enemy up to be all-out attacked, similar to exploiting a weakness. So if an enemy isn't weak to anything, it's still possible to knock them down or get an extra turn if you land a melee critical hit. Keep a critical hit chance buff on at least one of your personas or another party member for when you might need it. Spending time with others and ranking up your social links in Persona directly correlates to fusing more powerful personas to fight on your team. You can see right over here the experience bonus that social link applies when creating this persona, increasing its level beyond what it normally starts at. If you want to feel slightly overpowered for a moment, fuse a persona with your highest rank social link to make one that turns out even higher level than what your main character is at. When trying to spend time with someone to increase a social link, if it says, "I feel like I might grow closer soon," that means their social link will rank up after that interaction. If it says, "I don't think our bond will grow any stronger even if I spend more time," that doesn't mean that spending time with them is entirely worthless. It just means you need to spend that day plus maybe another day before they increase their rank. There's also a few other ways you can increase your affinity with others when they're not available. From day to day, you'll have to decide between improving those social links, working side gigs and other activities for various benefits, or chipping away progress through the current dungeon you're in. If you're looking for a good starting point with the Persona series, either Persona 3 Reload or Persona 5 Royal are perfect options, and you can't go wrong with either. Persona 5 has more elaborate structured dungeons, where Persona 3's progression up the floors of Tartarus are more straightforward with a focus on getting you right into combat. Persona 3 also has this card system that Persona 5 doesn't, that lets you acquire new personas and other upgrades after battle. Persona 5, on the other hand, has an enemy negotiation system that comes straight from the Shin Megami Tensei series. That system has you actually talk with the personas and demons to either recruit them to your squad or try to squeeze them for extra items or money. If you're looking to jump into the Shin Megami Tensei series, I recommend starting with SMT5, but maybe just wait it out for the updated version, Shin Megami Tensei 5 Vengeance, which has a load of new content. That and Persona will perfectly prepare you for later this year when Metaphor ReFantazio arrives. Metaphor ReFantazio seems to be a nice mixture of both Persona and Shin Megami Tensei, and has both turn-based and some real-time action combat that sets it apart from the others. If you really want even more than that though, you could also consider Tokyo Mirage Sessions Sharp FE Encore. The person in charge of naming that needs fired or a huge raise. I can't decide. That's a great Persona-style game, though, with some Fire Emblem cameos and a solid combat system. I played it when it was back on Wii U. Maybe and hopefully Persona 6 or a remake of Persona 4 will be announced by the time you're done with all of those. Now, if you haven't played any of these games whatsoever, was that all just nonsense, or did that help at all? Let me know. If you're trying to get a buddy into this series, maybe send this over to Buddy. If you are that buddy, hey buddy, join us. And for you, here is a quick summary of all those games I recommend you start with. Now cast your vote down below. What's your personal favorite cherished one game from the Persona Shin Megami Tensei Megaverse? Or just send me a shot of the box art over on X at BoomstickAlex. I'll know what it means. Alright, thanks for checking this out today, and remember, get that buddy over here. This is one of my personal favorite RPG series of all time, and I want an endless amount of them.